Okay. I move that we open the meeting and go into executive session. Second, Brad?
Second.
Okay. Supervisor?
Yes.
Council members? We're just going to
Yes.
start right here on my side.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So executive session, and the time is now 5:07. And the purpose of the executive session? So the audience knows?
Oh, are we
You
still
just have to
on?
read it, yes. So you're going
Oh,
into
I'm sorry.
executive session?
So we're interviewing candidates for the open town board seat.
Beautiful.
And we're doing this from 5 to 7 o'clock, and then the meeting will start at 7.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know, everyone appeared, ultimately. Okay, so I move that we open the public session of the town board
So you're
meeting.
exiting executive session?
Oh, yeah, we have to exit executive session first. Good thing you're here, Dawn. I move that we exit executive session.
I second that.
Sorry, I mean, you can stay in it if you want, but Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebler?
Yes.
Ham? Yes.
Okay. Well, now I move that we open the regular town board meeting.
And it's still 7:04.
I'll second that.
Paul? Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebler?
Yes.
Ham? Yes.
So we'll start as we excuse me. We'll start as we always do with saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I actually believe you all know where the exits are, but the door you came in and then this door as well. Time for the roll call.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes,
Council
here.
members Winters?
Here.
Rebler?
Here.
Ham? Here.
Okay, so we'll start with public comment. And I said 3 minutes each tonight, so as opposed to 1 minute on our reorg meeting. So anyone who's ready? Sure. Whoop. Ken, you'll be next.
Salvatore La Rosa, 15 Spruce Hill, Amenia. I see you have the Hudson River Housing Project in agenda today. You may remember I had made some remarks last year when the application was made for for zoning change. At the time, I also invited the board to please look into potential conflict of interest issues. Now, I've gone through a number of all the minutes of meeting of the housing board, town board, planning board. I noticed there has been involvement of some of the members of such board in the project that may have been part of some commercial agreement.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I just didn't get it.
I went through all the minutes of meetings in the last 3-4 years. And I noticed there have been involvement of members of the housing board and probably of the planning board as well that might have been involved in a commercial relationship with the project, like people that are employees of a company that were hired to make to provide some services.
Okay.
Or members that were involved in the acquisition of the site. And I noticed also that there have been questions made by members like yourself, like Mr. Blackman, in the past concerning potential conflict of interest issue that needed to be addressed, assessed and addressed. And I was wondering if there's been any opinion given by the ethic board.
Well, we were going to start with a lawyer, actually, and to review that. And he was waiting for some information from me, so I have to get on that so that you can get an answer. There was a letter from HRH that claim that there was not a conflict, but we need to sort of, look at it from a legal angle.
Thank you. No, I'm wondering, since again, during these meetings, the very same members of the board looked concerned, and like for instance, on August 9, 2020, Leo Blackman concerned about potential conflict of interest housing board members, brother-in-law, doing model, Jeff Barnett Wincy wants developers to snap up project. And like in August, Stacy Mantle, we need to know scope of development, concerned about potential Amenia Housing Board conflict precedent, and so on. There was also, for instance, in February 6, 2022, there was a discussion at the Amenia Housing Board asking, requiring possible ethic board opinion. I mean, this is something that has gone for long. So now I know that you are reacting to a request, or you may be reacting to a request I made to Dawn recently, but I'm wondering, in the past, has been any opinion given by the ethic board? I mean,
I don't remember whether that happened at the very beginning of this or not. I just don't remember. It was a while ago.
I can provide you with the date, exactly date, and avenue where this was discussed.
You're talking about on the housing board?
Housing board,
Date.
mainly housing board, yes.
Okay, well, those are the dates that you mentioned, right? I did write that down.
Right.
Okay.
September 8, 2020, August 10, 2021, and then there was in September 14, 2021, concerning one of the board members that is employee of AKRF, another October 12, 2021, February 6, 2022. So these are the ones that I found.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for the opportunity. I notice on your agenda tonight, item 5 is the selection of a council member. I have not seen who the candidate or choices are. I don't know that anyone has, and I don't know that affords us, the public, any opportunity to weigh in on the candidates. And that seems to me a shortfall. I would ask that you let us know who the candidates are that applied, and that you delay for 1 month this vote, so that we at least can come to you and give you our informed, like democracy, our informed opinions as to who should represent us. I know Council Member Winters was really strong about making sure we knew who the options were, and felt that the last meeting was orchestrated. And to some extent it was. So why orchestrate something again? Give us an opportunity to know who these people are, who these candidates are, why we think they would be great for the town of Amenia, and not just put them in and so be it.
If you'd like, I have a list that I can give to you right now, if you want to
Okay,
start on it.
do people here have it? Can we discuss it?
Can it be
So,
public?
Can it, I don't know.
Anyway, my recommendation, I don't
Want me
need to
help
see it, for the community, not for me,
I can help.
is that the list be publicized and that you table the vote till the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
What was the?
So when we start our public comments, we do state our name for the record, just so we can have that for the record. And the attorney's just advising that we don't respond at public comment time. So I'm going to pass the message along since I
Okay.
have the mic. But historically, with all of the names of all of the candidates for any of the positions, you do not give those names out. I do know that social media is out there, and it was released, the number, but that number may or may not even be correct if draft items are shared prior. So in fact, the information that was shared on social media is not correct, but we did have a number of candidates who submitted their application to myself as the town clerk, who then circulated them to the town board members. You do have individuals right now, I understand it's a town board seat, but they are also applying for a job. So how many people apply for a job and maybe don't tell their current employer? We do have the opportunity to, not that we're not sharing, but there are also many volunteers that are in this room where we're not giving those names out of all of those volunteers. This is going to be an appointment made by the board, not the electoral process. So if any one of those individuals then are going to submit their petitions, and then we'll know who those candidates are.
Well, I think we should definitely discuss this in our second executive session tonight, but did you want to say something, Ian?
Yeah, ultimately, the selection to fill the vacancy is a board decision. The board has the authority and the right to appoint that person. This board has elected to try to obtain candidates to get a better array of people to choose from. But ultimately, it is their decision to make. That will fill the vacancy till the end of this year. The people will get to vote this year on who they want to fill that position, because it's only for this 1 year. So the people, you will get your chance to vote as to who you want, but that's going to be at the election.
Okay. Other comments? Walter?
Good evening, Walter Dietrich. I understand that you'll be going over the traffic light petition, and I applaud whoever that was that brought this up, because I myself, living on 22, go down to Morton Place to turn to get around, so I don't have to go to the traffic light. The thing that I posted when I saw the petition or the idea go on social media was that it's a problem also with 22, not 32, 22, that I've been here 5 years now, and I live on 22, and 22 is a raceway. The trucks that go down that shake my house so badly that the pictures move and the foundation is crumbling, it's bad. And I'm not kidding. You can go to my basement and see the stuff on the floor. I have suggestions if anyone ever wants, just from living here. Like Millerton, we could have a speed limit that's 30 instead of 35. You could start at Silo Ridge at 45, at the cemetery go to 30, all the way up to Freshtown Plaza. You could have a four-way stop at West Broadway, where there's a two-way stop now. That would slow people down. There, you could even do, like, there's a sign that's in front of my neighbor's house that shows a crosswalk to the church. There's no crosswalk, but it shows children crossing the street. How ridiculous is that? They have no right turn on red at the traffic lights, but it's 10 feet behind the cars. It doesn't work. The DOT needs to do something about the traffic in this town, and it needs to be, I think, since it was brought up, I think it was this young lady here that did it, I was told secretly. And I think it's a great idea. But I think it's got to be more than just a left turn. We've got to really do something about the traffic in this town. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Walter. Next, yes, Margie?
Margaret O'Brien, a resident of Amenia. Town Board and fellow Amenians. I'm speaking tonight about the town's consideration of allowing cannabis to be dispensed in the town of Amenia. While cannabis has been deemed legal by members of the New York State government, that does not make it a right or good thing for small towns like Amenia to be aiding the distribution of cannabis, marijuana, pot, weed, or whatever you'd like to call it. While cannabis can legally be purchased and used by persons 21 years and older in New York State, it will unfortunately likely be accessible to persons under the age of 21, for which it has the most debilitating effects. In short, science is not on the side of cannabis. What are cannabis's long-term effects on the brain? Quoting from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, National Institute of Health. Substantial evidence from animal research and a growing number of studies in humans indicate that marijuana exposure during development can cause long-term or possibly permanent adverse changes in the brain, including notable problems with specific learning and memory tasks later in life. Cognitive impairments are associated with structural and functional changes in the hippocampus and an altered reward system, increasing the likelihood that an animal will self-administer other drugs, example heroin, when given an opportunity. Regular users of cannabis are more likely to use heroin, cocaine, or other drugs. Quoting from the National Center for Biotechnology information, as a rule of thumb, adolescents who use cannabis more than weekly probably increase their risk of experiencing psychotic symptoms and developing psychosis if they are vulnerable, if they have a family member with a psychosis or other mental disorder, or have already had unusual psychological experiences after using cannabis. Quoting from the Mayo Clinic, marijuana contains more than 500 chemicals, of which THC is considered the primary psychoactive mind-altering compound. The concentration of THC in a marijuana product is directly proportional to its potency or how much of a high it will give when consumed. Marijuana use among adolescents and young adults can affect normal brain development, leading to problems in learning, memory, coordination, reaction time, and judgment. Excessive and frequent use of marijuana is associated with hallucinations, paranoia, and a range of emotional problems. Cannabis use has been shown to impair cognitive functions on a number of levels, from basic motor coordination to more complex executive function tasks, such as the ability to plan, organize, solve problems, make decisions, remember, and control emotions and behavior. The brain finishes development and maturing in the mid to late 20s. The part of the brain behind the forehead, called the prefrontal cortex, is one of the last parts to mature. This area is responsible for skills like planning, prioritizing, and making good decisions. To repeat for those who care, science is not on the side of cannabis, despite what Albany thinks of it. Will everyone who uses cannabis suffer from these damaging consequences? No, but some people will. While you may think a decision should be based solely on the lawful use of cannabis by adults, you must consider that, like it or not, young adults and teens will somehow be able to obtain it. There are other factors to consider as well, such as likely increase in traffic in town, an increase in disruptive behaviors of individuals who are high, and an increase in traffic accidents from persons driving under the influence of marijuana. To make a decision about a dispensary for cannabis based solely on what possible revenue it may bring to the town is terribly short-sighted and morally bankrupt. The town must consider what is best for all the residents of the town, including young adults and adolescents. The argument that cannabis is now legal and therefore the town should have a dispensary is flawed thinking of the worst kind. Is having a cannabis dispensary in the town of Amenia worth the risk that the brains of some of our youth and young adults will be damaged as a result? I think not, clearly not. Thank you.
Next. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is George Pastranson. I live at 3498 Route 343. I brought in two pictures. I don't know if the camera will get it at least. But this photo shows the Hudson River housing property. It's a hayfield now right in the middle. And it's a spectacular vista that visitors and residents enjoy.
George, I'm sorry, where is it in the picture?
This is the Hudson River housing property.
That's a telephone pole, sir.
No, I just mean where in the
it's there.
picture. I can't see.
It's in the background.
It's here.
Yeah. Oh,
You
way,
can see
way
the
back
hayfield
there.
up
Okay.
there?
Oh, okay.
That's where it is. Beautiful view. This photo with the little square shows where the proposed Hudson River housing project will be, and it will destroy the view that we saw in the other photo.
And what street is the
Well-
photo taken?
Oh, this is taken from Depot Hill,
Okay.
right by the inn. I want to know why this parcel was chosen. It's an agricultural land which we want to preserve in Amenia. It's at the top of a steep hill that will require residents to use a car to get to the hamlet. The code enforcement officer is opposed to a zoning change because it would be spot zoning and probably wouldn't receive state approval. Most importantly, this project will destroy the rural lifestyle of several of our neighbors who bought houses on Spruce Hill, believing that they were moving into a low-density area. This is not the way I want to treat my neighbors. I have a theory about how this property was chosen. I think it was chosen because it was cheap enough to add some graft and then offered to Hudson River Housing with the endorsement of the Amenia Housing Board. Amenia Ventures bought the property for $150,000 and then resold it just 2 months later for $190,000 to Hudson River Housing. I'd like to know what happened to that $40,000. So I asked the board, the town board, to investigate this and dismiss any housing board members who participated in graft, condoned it, or stood silent. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
This will be quick. My name's Judy Moran. I don't know what the petition on the intersection, the light says, but anything that will improve it has to be better. I've lived here for a long time. I've only seen one accident, but I've seen so many near accidents. It's a very difficult thing for people who are not from the area to decide when they're supposed to turn, how they're supposed to turn. So I would love to see something happen to improve that situation.
Great, thank you. Someone else at the back had their hand up? Yep.
Good evening. My name is Gabrielle Gunther, 135 Perry's Corners Road. Good evening, everyone. Sorry. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here this evening. Tonight I will be discussing the proposal for the update regarding the Route 22, Route 44 intersection light. In recent years, traffic on 22 has greatly increased, which has made the flow of traffic and pedestrian crossing very difficult and dangerous. It would be appreciated if the town board would urge New York State Department of Transportation to conduct a study of this intersection, preferably in the warmer months when traffic is at its heaviest and most congested. So an adequate study would be best evaluated. This study has not been performed in quite a few years. It would make this intersection safer for everyone. In the past, there has been numerous accidents and people hit because of this outdated traffic light. The town residents, frequent travelers that pass through our beautiful town, and I believe an updated traffic light would greatly improve traffic flow and the safety of pedestrians crossing the street. Ideally, my proposal is for the traffic light to have green left turning arrows or delayed red lights, and at all four lights turn red when pedestrian crossing is activated. Thank you for your time and consideration on this matter.
Quick question, if that's okay. How many signatures did you end up with?
164. A majority of them we got within the first day.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
James.
Oh.
My name's James. Hi, everybody. Live on Separate Road. Just wanted to touch on the fact I love the petition. It was awesome. I met with Perotti, the previous supervisor, about 4 months ago, and we got to talking and figuring out who the right people to speak with are. We got in touch with DOT, the head engineer. He actually came here. He met with us multiple times, and it got to the point where he elevated to traffic and safety because somebody actually just got hit the day before, and met with them as well. And basically, what they did was check the timers. We ended up getting them to fix the light pole that was over. That was one of the crosswalk signs was completely fallen over when they replaced it. What they said, basically, I'll give you the long and short of it. They said, unfortunately, that for traffic and safety to really get involved, it's a matter of how many people get hit or how many accidents there are. So we brought up the obvious fact, look, we don't want kids to get hit. We don't want people, any more bodies to get hurt or die, and if that's what it is. What we can do is submit for a plan from the DOT. It's a 6-year waiting list, unless we have the funds to pay for our own engineering plan, which is going to cost a lot of money, and that is an option. But what they said they could do in the meantime was make parking lanes, I'm sorry. So like, there's the double line in the middle, and they could also make separate parking lines, which would like intentionally slow traffic down, trucks from like going into the parking lane. So it wasn't great news. I have his email and his contact information. I can pass it along to you guys and fill you in exactly where we were. But I just wanted to give an update on that. So we did meet with them. We are in contact with them. It kind of sounded like they're just breezing it away. But now that Leo's in...
I'm sorry, they're wedding away?
It's just like shuffling us off till
okay.
we bug them again. That's my impression was. They're not going to do much. They said they're going to put in a plan. We should hear from us in the spring about putting the traffic lanes in. But we talked to them about bringing the crosswalks back because it's horrifying walking across that intersection. The roads there's a 6-foot-inch gap in the road. So ultimately, I think they know that the road needs to be redone. But I think we just got to put more pressure on them. So I just want to add that. Thanks.
Okay, yes.
Leo, if I just make a suggestion.
Yep.
If he's going to provide the information and you have that information, maybe he might be willing to work with us on that. We can take that petition and bring that to whoever you were contacting with last, and then maybe that might be enough momentum and support from the public. Maybe you get some more ground on it. That would be my recommendation on the issue, not to jump on the agenda, but.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, James Pekovich, a lifelong resident of Amenia on 54 Sharon Station Road. I was just came to hear about the different things that were on the agenda tonight, and I'm all for a dispensary in the town. It's worked great in the town of Great Barrington. There's multiples, and as far as Miss O'Brien's concerns, you're supposed to be over 21, whether it be alcohol, anything else, and parental concern should be a factor in that. As far as the medicinal effects of it, it's helped a lot of people with a lot of certain things. There's a lot of people that can't take painkillers and stuff like that, where marijuana actually subsidizes for people with different issues with stuff like that. And I think it would be good revenue for the town. And I just wanted to say what I thought. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope it goes through.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, that's good.
I'll do it quickly.
Oh,
just
Charlie.
for, yeah, so the HRH petition for the zoning change.
Can
of
you wait on that
parcel,
until we get to the discussion part?
Do you want me to have, will I be able to speak at that point?
Yes.
You have one more public comment. He'd like to bring up the signs. Is this a good time?
Oh,
under public comment?
I was going to have him do that later, but that would be fine.
Can you?
Sure.
See y'all again. Also, a couple months back, Victoria Parodi and I were working on getting new signs into town, the entry signs, welcome to Amenia. There's mold in the existing ones, they're very dirty. I think the town hall might need a new sign. I just think to elevate it would be a nice touch to Amenia to have a nice welcome sign that's uplit or downlit at night, so people know where they're going and they see a charming town when they come in. We had several conversations with designers. They gave us a very favorable rate, and I printed them out. I'm going to give them to the town board today. There's two different versions.
Maybe I'll hold that up for our...
mock-up, and this is actually...
Okay. I'm going to hold it up for the TV audience. Okay, is this the right one? With this, I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
This is just like what the printout would look like.
Oh, plus town? Is that our?
That's what Amenia stands for, yeah. And Victoria wanted something like that. It's pleasant to the eye, or pleasant town, it's interchangeable.
Whatever happened to those historic markers? We had two, and they're both down.
Where were the two
One
markers?
across the street from the winery on 22, and there was one coming up north on 22, like in Dover, but I guess it's Amenia, right on the border.
No idea.
And it said, it was that.
Oh, I think there's still a sign, I know there's still a sign that says Amenia from the Greek, blah, 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 blah,
yeah,
blah.
it's on Old Route 22.
It's on Old Route 22.
22 heading south to
Yeah.
Marseille.
Yeah.
Right.
So that sign is still there, or one of them anyway.
This version is just like what it would actually look like. It'd be a 3D
So,
sign.
James, real quick, this is not a planning board meeting, so you have to actually go to the mic because he's televising us live.
Okay.
So people at home want to hear you.
So there was some talk that they wanted something with Amenia in it, like the town of or Pleasant. That's actually what Amenia stands for, pleasant to the eye, but it's interchangeable with a pleasant town. The design is simple. It's something easily to be pulled off. We would get 4 from every direction coming into town. I've got the sign maker lined up. I've got the install guy lined up. We just have to get the lights. They probably have to be solar powered lights because there is no electric out there. It'd be an easy fix. We could do it for spring and it would add a lot of value to the entrance of town, I think. So wanted the town board to consider that and then we can get moving on it if there's no objections.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Can we comment on it? Is that possible?
Sure.
In terms of branding.
You have to
You
stand
have to
at
go
the-
to the podium, state your name for the TV audience.
Yep.
Oh, there's plenty of people watching. You'll be surprised.
Just in terms of branding, if you want to develop commercially, it's the brand of Pleasant Town is maybe not going to brand you in a way that attracts commerce that you might be looking for. And I think you need to know who is Amenia. What is Amenia? What is the Amenia brand? And to put something up, it may not send a message that helps you deliver commercially. No, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have discussion items next. The first on the list is Gabrielle's traffic light petition. And I guess one thing, Gabrielle, is just, I want to understand exactly what you're proposing, or is the issue to turn that over to DOT?
I'm sorry, can you repeat what you
Sure.
were
I
saying?
just want to understand whether your petition is essentially asking for DOT to do something, or whether you have a specific plan. It sounded like you wanted the lights to do something specific.
Ideally, I had an idea for the intersection, but if you could, I'm sorry, excuse me. Ideally, my idea was for the traffic section to be updated with the light specifically, because there's not enough room for turning lanes. You'd have to go into other businesses. But specifically, I'd like New York State Department of Transportation to update it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood that.
An advanced green, it's called. Advanced green, advanced green.
Advanced green.
Turning signals, green left turn arrows.
Like the one in Millerton.
Delayed lights, advanced greens, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any thoughts on that, committee, board?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's only a 3-way light, but I'm just thinking about the one in Millerton that has an arrow that appears for, that stops northern traffic coming south and allows the southern traffic to turn, or the, I got the other way around. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Yeah, it depends on where you're coming from, so I suppose, but I think one of the big issues that I've experienced at that light is when you're coming south to the light is turning left. It seems to be, especially when you're, thinking of the timing of a traffic light, where you're going, what distractions are around you. That just seems to stick with my mind, that one thing. And I don't, maybe it just seems more recent than in the past that people have been getting hit there, which I think is a sign of something that's getting worse and worse by the day, a week, whatever.
Yes, recently, over the past 3 years specifically, trying to turn left, either going north or southbound, it's very difficult trying to make it. Because if one person is trying to make the left-hand turn, it holds up all the traffic behind you trying to go, and that delays the traffic trying to.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to say?
I would like to say that I try to avoid the traffic light at all costs and go along Railroad Avenue and really avoid not making a left-hand turn at all. And it is certainly is problematic and has been for years. My concern is with the delayed lights and all that is the impact of backing up traffic, going north and south, and and like on particular times, especially like on a Friday evening or any time during rush hour traffic with the buses going through town. And I just wonder how that will impact. I mean, I think it has to be studied, and I think we need to do something, but I'm not sure there's a simple answer, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. Paul, you're good?
I'm good. I think
All
she
right.
laid it all out
Thank
pretty
you for raising that. Okay, the next thing was the cannabis opt-in and hearings. Since we clearly had 2 points of view tonight, I guess it indicates that we need to give the public a chance to comment.
Sure.
Before we move ahead with this. So I would suggest that Dawn advertise that we're having a meeting on that subject, or put it on the, how do we do this?
So,
Are you looking to do,
For a public hearing, I guess.
okay, so you're going to want to set a public hearing date.
Okay.
so can I ask a
Please.
question?
Go ahead.
So we're not voting anytime soon to opt in, right? So
Right.
the lawyer recommended to us that we get our zoning in place. So are we having a public hearing to discuss
Do you want to tell them
what
that
the
you can have the
regulations are
pre-
gonna be and
Do you
the
wanna tell
zoning
them?
and all that stuff? I mean,
He doesn't know.
Well, I mean, I think that the zoning, I mean, first of all, if we're, yes?
If I
Ian?
don't mean to interrupt, but I think I can.
It's all right. Please.
So the idea is if we have a public hearing, kind of a pre-public hearing, to have people come in and voice their opinions, some concerns, whether it be zoning concerns, because that information will help us as far as where we go as to drafting, where we zone these, what we're going to be doing with the law, if it's something that the board's going to want to do. So it's really just eliciting input from the public on the issue. That would be the purpose of having a public hearing before we draft.
Okay. Is there actually a thing that's a pre-public hearing? Or you're just talking about a public hearing that would be
Well, yeah,
before we?
yeah,
Okay,
but
thank
before
you.
you draft a law, before you go into the whole process, like, just to get comment. Just
Okay.
like you would with many other board actions that we do, we elicit comment from the public. That's all.
I mean, I think it's a good idea because there was a lot of comment the last time that we did it. So, and if we ask for a zoning law, then we have to pay a planner to do that. So, I mean, my recommendation would be to get input from the public before we take that next step.
so I feel like that this has been discussed a lot over the years, right? How many people grew up with DARE, right? Nancy Reagan's DARE. So this thought that if we have a dispensary in this town, that all of a sudden our teenagers are going to have all this access to marijuana. Well, guess what? My 17-year-old tells me that she can get marijuana a lot easier than she can get alcohol. What we're doing here is proposing regulating it and getting it off the black market. You have a thriving black market of marijuana in this community. You might not want to admit it or think about it, but there are thousands or hundreds of people in this community that smoke marijuana every single day. My daughters tell me that they can get heroin, they can get marijuana, but they can't get beer. And the only difference is it's regulated. So to keep rehashing over and over whether it's good or bad, I don't know. That's,
Well,
worthwhile.
Paul, I mean, it isn't just your opinion on
No.
this. And you're always talking about hearing from people, so I
I'm
would
just
assume-
discussing it. It's a discussion, right? I'm asking. Do we keep hashing over and over again whether it's good or it's bad, or do we start moving to the point to where we start talking about regulating it and what's the proper way to do that?
Thoughts over there? Anyone?
Yeah, the only thing that comes to my mind, and I was thinking about what you're saying, Paul, the regulation of it is, one of the, it was a few years ago, programs that my PR wife was representing was on the opioid crisis. And was a program in Putnam initially, and they tried to do it, and they got a lot of legs and feedback in doing the same program in Dutchess County. Butch Anderson was very much involved in that. And what we learned about the drug crisis that nobody seems to talk about much is frightening, and it's growing. And any of us in this room, it's out of our control. I hate to say it. But the one thing about this cannabis thing that struck me, and I know I've talked to you about this in the past, Paul, is that children are getting marijuana. You know, they want it, they're going to get it, wherever they get it. And what's happening now is the drug people that are pushing these drugs are lacing it with fentanyl. And this is really, really I'm scared about this. This is the new thing. They're lacing these drugs with other things. And so if you have a dispensary that is controlled, obviously that if they're going to do it, you know, they might say, well, I don't want to get fentanyl. I want to go to, you know. Anyway, that's the thing that comes to my mind about this. That what good to the public would allowing such a thing to come into our town? And if I was going to say anything, that would be one thing. It's about the fact that these drugs, black market, are all being laced with all different things. That is one thing. I guess that would be it.
Rosanna?
I think that it's been, what, a year since the last public hearing?
2 years.
2 years. So I think we do need to have a public hearing. We're elected officials. I think we need to listen to what the public says, for or against. And I think it's a good way to start. Again, we're starting fresh. I think that starting with a public hearing, it can't hurt. And I think we need to listen to people. I think that's our job. And may get some ideas, or maybe able to allay fears, or have discussions without it becoming, you know, a really emotional kind of thing. So I think it's a good idea to have a public hearing first.
Okay. Well, I guess I would move that we set a date for a public hearing on the subject. And Dawn is checking her calendar
On the
already.
15th, we can have our resolution ready to authorize me and to set the public hearing date.
Okay.
And then the public hearing date would be March 7th.
Okay.
So we can put that on the 15th's agenda to set the public hearing date. February is not the public hearing. It will be in March, but that will be the meeting you set it. We do
Okay.
the legal notice that day.
Okay. March, what did you say, 7?
March 7th.
So
Okay.
there will be a resolution at the next
At the
meeting
next town board
to
meeting.
set that date as
It's
the
called
public
setting the
hearing.
public hearing.
Okay. So the last thing on our discussion items was the Hudson River Housing referral to planning. And Charlie, I think you better explain that, if you would.
Sure. So Hudson River Housing, who is a nonprofit affordable workforce housing developer, purchased a parcel of property across the street from Town Hall and just a little bit north. That parcel is in suburban residential zoning. It is the only zoning district in our code that doesn't allow multifamily homes. So a multifamily home is 3 or more units. So 2-family homes are allowed in every zoning district. Multifamily is not allowed in suburban residential. So multifamily homes are generally apartments, and Hudson River Housing in their proposed site plan has 7 one-bed, one-bath rental units, which would be a multifamily structure. So they have petitioned the town board. They sent that in last year, at the end of the year, to change that, or actually extend the Hamlet residential zoning district to that parcel. That parcel is bounded on 2 sides by Hamlet residential. So Hamlet residential allows for multifamily homes just like every other except suburban residential by special permit. So it's not as if it's, you know, reducing the threshold of having to go through the whole planning process. I also want to address a lot of the comments that were made when they did petition the town board in December. I want to say probably all of those comments were related to site plan review. So anything about screening, water runoff, sewer, parking, all of that is addressed in site plan review and is all required by our code to be very detailed in their submission. Be it they do what they can do by right there now, which are multifamily homes. They can build that by right as of now, or do multifamily for sale homes, as well as, these 7 rental units that they are hoping to be able to deliver to the town. The one thing I'll say about spot zoning, so spot zoning is not illegal in New York State. Spot zoning, the definition of that is changing the zone of one parcel benefiting one owner. This is extending the zoning. It abuts Hamlet Residential, and it is supported by our comprehensive plan, which is another element of being able to extend zoning or even do spot zoning, which this is not. Our comprehensive plan, time and time again, calls for workforce affordable housing for our residents, and to cluster that in the hamlet of Amenia. So what the Housing Board and Hudson River Housing is hoping that the board will do today is just refer their petition, which again is just extending that zone, Hamlet Residential to suburban residential, to the Planning Board and to Dutchess County Planning to comment on that. And those two bodies have 30 days to reply to that petition, which is ultimately saying, we think this should be changed, we think that should be changed. The petition, by the way, is very straightforward. It just asks that this parcel be included in Hamlet Residential and be removed from suburban residential. Does that make sense?
Yes, but just clarify one thing,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
So we're referring Hudson River Housing's petition to the planning board. That's what we'll be voting on.
And Dutchess County Planning.
And Dutchess County
Yes.
Planning for review, since they do site plan review.
Yeah, this is not site plan review.
Okay.
This is the...
This is just the zoning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're requesting a zoning amendment. So it would be this board's decision to draft a zoning amendment. Part of that would be circulating that to Dutchess County Planning and working with the Planning Board to do the zoning amendment. If the board was going to consider the zoning amendment, I would recommend at least researching the legalities of the issues that Charlie has raised. Although I do agree with you, I haven't researched them fully to advise the board properly on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be my recommendation that we would brief those legal issues to make sure there aren't any legal issues with rezoning it. And if that were the case, then we could proceed from there to rezone the property.
Is that something we can do before the next meeting?
I could have the issue briefed by then, sure.
That would be
Sure.
great.
I'm sorry. So could the town council confirm exactly what he means by legal issues of extending a zoning? And the petition has the zoning amended language in it. So it's the town board has to take no action of drafting a zoning amendment.
There are potential legal issues which you have raised. I haven't researched them. If the board would like to act on your recommendation, that's fine. I won't opine, but I haven't researched the issues to advise the board, so I would recommend that we do so.
I think it's fair to say, first of all, Charlie, thank you for your research. But I'm kind of surprised about, whatever you label or what one thinks spot zoning is or isn't. But you're still effectively changing zoning in a way that you're creating a precedence for anyone to change it in that way.
Well, anybody in the town of, any owner, parcel owner in the town of Amenia can petition the town board to change or amend their zoning. And that happens, from time to time.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say that it's creating a precedent. Anybody can, and the town board can decide not to grant this petition too. I mean, if you don't, there's multiple steps to it. So if you decide not to pass it along now or let it die on the vine, that's ultimately
I guess my kind of question is, are we And maybe I'm oversimplifying this. It's a change in zoning. It's a zoning change no matter how you look at it.
Yes, it's a parcel changed from one zone to the zone that it abuts.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
One thing that I find sort of interesting about this is that in 2008, there was a growth plan for Amenia done. The board commissioned some planners to do that, and they were determined that Amenia's growth would have to be parallel to 22 on the, okay, what side is that? That is the west side. That's shown in their drawings. What happened, though, is that the report was received, and as many things happened there, then drop into a hole. And so the zoning was never changed. There was no kind of coordination between those two things. But it's very clear when they did this analysis of where growth should go that I think there were 3 different options given, and I think 2 of those showed a road parallel to 22, but to the west of it. So it isn't like this is kind of out of the blue. That was there. But I mean, again, I think there's a much higher good here. There's no question, I think, in anyone's mind that we need workforce housing. The site is close enough to the downtown that it's walkable, and it's walkable to Freshtown. It's not visible from 22. I mean, I think it would be hard to find a site that is that well situated for this housing to go on. So, you know, personally, I feel like the zoning change is justified, and that we, you know, that the board should move it ahead. But I guess I should hear what other people have to say.
So if I remember correctly, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, Jack's Auto tried to move from Wassaic and build their new thing there, and the town board refused to change the zoning to allow them to do that. So if they refused that particular one homeowner because it was considered spot zoning, now we're going to entertain the idea of spot zoning another location. Maybe we need to consider zoning that whole strip.
Well,
rather than just spot
so the Jack's Auto was more about that was, he was looking to do, or they were looking to do commercial in a residential area. So that was the big pushback at the time, was that. The same goes for the lot that's currently for sale that is between 22 and Cascade, that's across from Freshtown, which is also suburban residential. It was in the Amenia Hamlet Growth Plan of 2008. It depicts that being a mixed-use parcel, but it is not. It is zoned suburban residential, where no commercial can go. So I think this is a little different than Jack's situation, but I understand the town board denied their petition, which they can do here.
It's just a thought, it's an idea. At the end of the day, this community needs workforce housing. My 28-year-old left the state because she could not afford to buy a house around here. HRH, right? Did I say it right?
Hudson River Housing, yes.
Yeah, Hudson River Housing, they got a good plan. It's a good idea. I build things for a living. This is a good plan. And what they've set up would have helped my 28-year-old be able to stay in Amenia, and instead she went to Springfield, Mass. She came home for 2 years and saved money for a down payment, and she could not buy a house here in Amenia. And that saddens me. So this is definitely something that we need to move forward on.
And I should say, I mean, to that point too, suburban residential has multifamily homes in it that were built before our zoning was changed in 2008. So it's not as if they don't exist now. It's just that the current zoning doesn't allow for them.
And I saw a bunch when I was door knocking.
Can I say something?
Please, Rosanna.
I think there is definitely a need for workforce housing, but we just had a whole conversation about congestion on 22 and the speed and all of that. And if my understanding is where, you know, this is increased traffic coming out on 22 in a not very good spot. You know, like I could see having affordable housing across from Freshtown in that open field where you could actually easily access Cascade Road or come out on 22 and you can see. My concern is the spot where it is. And, you know, you talked about parallel road to 22, and I can't visualize anywhere where that can go.
So I think
from
it's
there, that way. I mean,
So it's a good point, but the board and the community should realize that this parcel, the parcel on 22 that is directly north, and then Jack and Linda's parcel that abuts that, those two parcels, which are collectively probably 35, 40 acres, are hamlet residential. They allow for dense development of residential homes on very small lots. And that's their zoning. So by right, they can be developed that way, and they probably will. Silo Ridge owns one, Jack and Linda own the other. I know Silo, if they had the bandwidth, they would build housing because their workers desperately need housing. This lot, actually by right, you could build the 14 multifamily homes, which is in the HRH plan, and you could add an ADU to each one of them to get to 7 rental units. But the problem with that is there's just not funding for that kind of development to then deliver affordable housing to people. So just to be clear, you know, what they are wanting to do is in a way you can get to it by right. So I understand that people are worried about traffic. That's always a concern, but that will be addressed at site plan review by the planning board with probably a referral to New York State Department of Transportation. And nothing will be able to be done without them, you know, satisfying those traffic concerns, which I think are very valid, truthfully.
so then my question would be that if you were to change the zoning, and I kind of had this conversation with Ian, so the possibility exists that you could change the zoning, but through the planning board, it may not happen due to DOT concerns or Department of Health concerns.
Correct.
Or environmental studies. So having the zoning change doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen in that particular spot.
Correct, exactly. What it does is it allows them to be able to build and hopefully deliver something with funding behind it. But everything that people have brought up regarding traffic, lights, sound, water, storm runoff, all of that actually is required during your application to the planning board. This would be a subdivision. It would be a major subdivision that requires all of that. Seeker, long-form seeker has to be supplied to them as well. So, this is granting this extension of a zoning into this parcel is not a free-for-all. It is not that at all. It barely opens up the door for somebody to spend a lot more money to put a lot of plans together that then will have public hearing. Public hearing is required during that site plan review by the planning board.
Yeah, so procedurally, where they're at is HRH has presented this to the planning board kind of in an introductory fashion. The planning board has made some suggestions to them. One of the issues that came out of that is that what they're looking to do as part of their plan isn't zoned. So they can't even get going on the project. They can't submit an application because it's not zoned. So one of their options, and probably their most viable option, is to request a zoning change from the town board. If the town board is in support of the project and they believe in the project and they want to see it go through, they can explore what the zoning change would look like. So it would be my recommendation, if the board would like to explore that, we could take a look into some of the legalities that potentially exist, and if there's no issues with doing the rezone, then we do the rezone, and if the board decides. But that would be a board vote.
But let me understand that. Are we saying that we would vote for zoning change before, we would have to, in that case, we would vote for zoning change before the planning board has made comments on it?
They can't even submit an application.
I'm sorry?
They can't even submit an application.
Let's start at the very end.
Hold on a second. What did you just say about the application?
Their application will be denied immediately because it's not properly zoned, the way they want to construct the project.
Right,
If
well,
they
well,
want to
well-
do the application, they would have to change the structure of the
So
project.
they haven't even put an application in yet?
No.
They're not allowed to.
They're not allowed to.
Yeah,
I
my
just wanna make
understanding,
sure I
yeah,
got
my
that.
understanding is that there was just an introductory, and you
Yes,
can probably
so
speak more to
our code actually is very specific
Yeah.
around this. It actually, most developers will have a conference with the planning board, and they'll have a, you know, a draft kind of site plan of what they want to do, and they'll get feedback from them. So that's what HRH did. And the planning board engineer, you know, made comments and recommendations. But to go back to like changing the zoning, it is the same as changing any local law or creating a local law. That ultimately happens by resolution of the town board. So that's way in the future. The first thing is you guys have to agree to refer this to Dutchess County Planning and to our planning board for comment. And then those comments come back, and then you caucus amongst yourselves, you change it, then you go to Dawn and figure out when you can actually publish a public hearing, and then there's a public hearing on that. And then maybe at that point you decide, oh, this still isn't good, we're not doing anything else, or you then pass a resolution that adopts this zoning change.
Okay, so the referral to the planning board is actually what we would be voting on if we were to do that tonight.
Yes, and Ian, the town attorney, is recommending that you pause and that he look through any kind of legal ramifications of this, and I suppose we'll report back to you at the next town board meeting for you to make a decision on it.
Okay, then.
And this is a process. Government is a process and has a lot of speed bumps, unlike our Route 22 and 44.
Right.
Yes. So,
So I'd make a motion that, that we ask Ian to review the legal issues and have a resolution at our meeting on February 15th.
Second that.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes?
Council members
Yes.
Winters, Revelard?
Yes.
Winters, Revelard?
Yes.
Ham? Thank you.
Okay.
I don't like sitting here, I can't see.
All right, how about that? So
You missed it.
You miss a lot.
I think it's our favorite time, the supervisor's report.
Starting the meeting.
You got enough water?
I'm going to go back, actually. I was just about to leave. Actually, I may have to leave.
Nothing.
I don't care. Just
Brief reasons.
It's interesting, just pull it right up, you know?
We've lost our leader.
We need a water fountain
This
in
is
here.
New York still.
Boom.
Jamie, you can go home.
I'm gonna send it to him.
Yeah, you can go home. It's all boring stuff now. Okay, good. I'll talk to you.
So when Leo gets back, we'll continue with the supervisor's report, and then I'm going to go into the town clerk report, but I can't go into the town clerk report because I need the full board to vote, because they're just voting on the approval of my minutes. And then we'll continue. He went to go grab a,
Did he really go to get more water?
I
told him I've been up since 4:30 this morning too. I'm not gonna go home. I'm not gonna stick around for the executive session.
That's a bit earlier than me. There's no executive session tonight, it's off. There's no executive session tonight. That's off.
he told us that it was.
No, that's,
He's got it on there.
Why did that go?
I was told it was off, but,
Oh,
okay.
maybe.
I was told it was off.
He wants to smack my hand for posting stuff on Facebook.
It's going to stay.
It's thirsty.
These will pick it all up.
So,
Wherever you.
as soon as he
I'm
gets
sending
back.
this to my personal email.
Okay. It's R-Ham,
That's what
H-A-M-M.
Well, I'm going to continue my report. All right, just to keep the meeting moving, I'll go ahead and just continue. We're going to switch with the supervisor's report and the town clerk report. So I'm reporting to the board that for January of 2024, the total local share was remitted to, total local share collected was $621, with the local share being remitted to the supervisor in the amount of $592. Also, I share with this board that for 2023, total decals collection was $11,305, with the total amount being remitted to the supervisor was $546.82. As we all know, it's favorite time of year for the tax collector. To date, I've collected $2,207,351.29, with the total amount having been remitted to the supervisor in the amount of $1,944,608.37. And the breakdown is as follows, being that I've reported equals the Amenia Library, $225,000, Amenia Fire, $1,165,399, Amenia Lighting, $18,500, Amenia Water, $63,929, Wasake Fire, $440,900, Wasake Lighting, $6,700, and the re-levied water bills in the amount of $24,180.37. So all that money has been transferred over to the appropriate town, county, and state agencies. I do share, and the only action that I'm going to need from the board this evening is the approval of the minutes submitted and circulated prior to the meeting and have commented on. I'm presenting for the approval. Do you guys want to do it in one lump sum?
Sure.
Yeah, we can do that.
November 16th, December 7th, December 14th, January 4th, and January 18th. Is there a motion to
I'll make that motion to approve
Leo?
I'll second it.
Paul?
with the one change I had.
Thank you. And that would be Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
And Ham?
Yes.
Okay, one last final announcement under the town clerk's report is, we all know I love February, we love Valentine's. Leo was picking on me about that, but the one thing that I like to bring is to the community is the awareness is February's Heart Month. We all know that we have been pretty strong advocates in the Kligner House for the last handful of years since we had our own cardiac event that took place in our family. I like to remind everybody to eat heart safe, to watch your intake, make sure you exercise, always visit your doctor. Now that our pancake breakfasts have resumed at the firehouse, if anybody ever needs their blood pressure checked and their vitals taken, I've had residents, when they've had the opportunity to have a visit from me on the ambulance, they've stopped into the town clerk's office, sometimes just to get those vitals checked, just to keep up with what their own personal program is when they need help. I think it's so important that we are mindful this all year long, but this month is a special month, and because of that, for the last decade here at the Amenia Town Hall and the firehouse, we all work collaboratively together. We do host a blood drive. So this year, it's going to be Wednesday, February 7th, right here at the Amenia Town Hall, down in the gym, between the hours of 3 and 7:30. No, you do not have to sign up ahead of time, but it is convenient if you sign up ahead of time so we can plan accordingly for the night. It is the one thing that you can do to give back to your community. You can help a friend. We used to have the saying, because you never know, events in our lives happen because you never know why. But I want to make sure our community works together. We know the signs. Chris and I are now CPR instructors. If anybody wants to ever learn CPR, you just give us a call, and we'll take those 3 hours with you to go through some of the basic skills. I think it's the first start in the awareness and the importance of it, and I really want to bring us to be a community that's heart safe again, and the support of the blood drive would mean a lot to the Kligner family. So, everybody's back. Great.
All right, well.
Supervisor's report.
Okay, so you know that we interviewed people for the open town board seat, and we will talk at the executive session at the end of this meeting about whether we can release those names. We may have to check with the people who applied to make sure that they don't have a problem with that. So we will, I'm hoping that we can do that. I will announce that I have a secretary starting on Monday, which hopefully will make me infinitely more efficient. On the highway garage, I met with Megan Chamberlain, or I have a meeting set up for next week with Megan Chamberlain to go back and look at the drawings that were done by the engineer and the report that he presented. So I wanted to just list some priorities for 2024. I wanted to do the following infrastructure projects to make each one grant ready. One is the highway garage. There are issues in terms of access that I think could save us some money, and we will need to do an RFP to hire an engineer architect to do a construction drawings. The wastewater system, I'm hoping at the next meeting we will vote to move ahead with the map plan and report, which is the next step required to pursue grant funding, which obviously we need a lot of, and hopefully we will actually get to do that before the infrastructure money runs out. The drinking water system, I think you all know that we have a new water operator, and they have been great so far in terms of managing the system in this bridge period. I'm also very much looking forward to sitting down with them and reviewing the suggestions made by the last water operator, because I think, again, there are some much less expensive ways to solve the problems with the water system. Workforce housing is basically working with Hudson River Housing and the planning board to move a project that will actually provide homes for families and individuals forward. Downtown improvements, working with DOT, obviously on the traffic light at the intersection, but also crosswalks, streetscape, trees, and signage to support and support new businesses in the downtown. Green space, work with the Recreation Commission on the Amenia Green project in Wassaic Park, and work with the Enhancement Committee on Fountain Square and the center of Wassaic. I'm hoping to improve communication. The town website, there have been a lot of complaints. I am hoping that we can review the perceived problems, compare with other municipal sites, and redesign that. We had mentioned an LED sign board and are now researching the requirements and costs to install one in front of Town Hall to keep community members informed about meetings and upcoming events in the next week. In terms of our response to complaints, the secretary will get started on this, creating a log for communication from the public and make sure all departments promptly respond to concerns raised regarding town matters. There's no kind of tracking right now of what comes in and what goes out. And the last thing was the use of Town Hall. There's been a community kitchen off the gym talked about for a long time. I am hoping that we can move ahead and hire a kitchen designer and get that going again. I think there's actually money to fund that already. The gym floor is going to be replaced, and we had hired an architect last year to kind of look at options and prepare sketches for that. And I know she's at the point where she's going to putting together an RFP to send that out for costs. And the Conservation Advisory Committee and Stacy Mantle in particular have been working to get new heat pump systems for the gym and what would be the kitchen, which there's a fairly large grant for. NECC approached us a while ago about opening a satellite office and reviving the farmers market. I haven't had a chance to speak to them since I've started, but I will in the next couple of weeks and see what that requires. And then also hoping to work with the rec committee regarding what was mentioned earlier, which would be winter concerts and movie nights in the auditorium. And I'd also am hoping to find a space in this building for committees to meet, since they always get shoved into a corner. So anyway, that's my report.
Can I make a comment on the report?
Please do.
Okay. As far as the community involvement, we also spoke about either doing Zoom meetings or recording of some of the, like the planning board and the zoning board and things like that.
Right.
So people who do not come out at night or can't come out at night can see those meetings. The other thing is in developing the downtown, and I know we had briefly talked about it, and I think it probably is problematic, but when we're redesigning downtown and we're trying to bring businesses in, that we see if we can figure out how we can make some of those buildings handicap accessible, because if you go down Main Street, they're not, and some of the buildings have steps but no railings. So I just think it's something that we should consider.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for raising that. Okay.
I have a comment.
Please.
So early on, since we're going over goals once again, I suggested that when important issues come up, and I think we've had some tonight, that a mailer go out to the community, either a postcard or something. So, because I'm still finding that a lot of people, from what I'm hearing, I'm one of them, I don't get Channel 22, for example. I know that the readership in the Millerton News is not large. Of course, there's always Facebook, but I have a tendency to avoid it myself. So, but again, I just think that there's a very good reason for transparency and to get more people involved versus a small group involved to have the mailers go out. So that is a very big goal, and I would like to have more discussion about it and get something in gear.
Okay.
And I did have a question in one of the goals for the gym floor. I did see that there was, it was sent out today by Nancy, that there are 3 estimates already in coffers for the gym floor. So they weren't RFPs. I don't know if they were or
They weren't, and
not.
they didn't bid the same stuff.
All right. I saw that. So I guess my question then would fall more as to what's a realistic time frame for getting these RFPs out the door?
Well, I don't think it's going to take that long to get the RFP out. I imagine that could be done certainly by the end of this month. The issue is when the work would be done, because obviously it would be much better to have it done before the camp season, or else we kind of have to postpone since that'll get heavy use. The other thing is that the amount of time that the work will take, there are 2 options. One is pulling up the existing wood floor, the existing layers on top of the oak floor that the building was built with and refinishing that. The other is to pour a floor. I was very impressed with this product, but to pour, there's a sort of rubbery layer, and then there's a top coat. And so I think that the RFP is going to ask for prices on both from each of the 3.
No, I read through all that stuff.
Okay.
I was just curious of the time frame. And yeah, that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Paul? Okay. All right, so on to the resolutions. Okay, wait a second. I know they're here. Nope. Give me a moment to find those. Here we go.
You're beginning with number 29 tonight.
Ooh, that's exciting. 29. Okay. Resolution number 29 of 2024. Authorizing naming of private road. Do we need to do this, or this is resolved now? The road is already named, isn't it? Didn't we determine that?
You need a formal resolution approving it. That's what this is. It should-
Really?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's what's being requested.
Okay.
That's why it was drafted.
Okay. Authorizing naming of private road for E911 for the Grandview Estates subdivision. Whereas Dutchess County E911 requires the naming of private roads with 3 or more residential structures, as well as newly created town roads. And whereas the Town of Amenia Planning Board has approved a residential subdivision known as the Grandview Estates subdivision. This is from 1992 that it was approved, by the way, not recently. Whereas the Town of Amenia Planning Board has approved and authorized the naming of the private road as Jerry Lane. Whereas Dutchess County E99 has approved the name of the road subject to confirmation by the town board. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board hereby confirms and ratifies the determination of the Town of Amenia Planning Board and Dutchess County E911 with respect to the naming of the private road as Jerry Lane. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Revlard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll do one more, then I'm passing it on. This is Resolution 30, I imagine, of 2024, reauthorizing settlement of tax cert proceedings commenced by Andrea W. Walton, trustee, and H. Whitney Wagner, trustee, whereas there's now pending in the Dutchess County Supreme Court tax cert proceedings commenced in 2022 and 23 by Andrea W. Walton, trustee, and H. Whitney Wagner, trustee, regarding 2 parcels of property located at 3989 Route 343 in the town of Amenia. Tax map lots number 132000, 726800, 649254, 000, and 13200, 726800, 615170, 000. Seeking a reduction and correction of in the 2022 and 2023 assessments for their respective tax rolls, and whereas the town assessor and special counsel recommended a settlement on these tax review proceedings, now therefore be it resolved as follows: the recitations set forth or incorporated in this resolution is fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board of the town of Amenia hereby approves the settlement of the tax review proceedings for the years 2022 and 2023 on behalf of the town of Amenia as they pertain to the parcels identified as follows. The one that is identified as 64254 was assessed in 2022 for $620,000 and $400, and in 2023 for $688,600, and the revised assessment for those years was $610,000 and $400, excuse me, for both of those years. So it's a reduction of $10,000 for the first year and $78,200 for for 2023. Those are the reductions in assessment, not a reduction in tax. The other parcel, which is identified as 615170, in the year of assessment 2022, it was assessed at $2,120,300, and in 2023, it was assessed as $3,500. The revised assessment for both of them, both years, is 1.802400 assessment. The reduction then for the first year is $317,900, and for the second year, $551,100. This was the town supervisor, town assessor, and Shane J. Egan Esquire, special counsel of the town of Amenia, are hereby authorized to take all actions necessary and appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution. So I'll make that motion.
Well, second, and I do have some questions.
Sure.
Or comments. This is a tax certiorari settlement proceeding, and the property's on Route 343, private ownership property. A question for Ian. In these settlements, which has been obviously reviewed by our assessor and well reviewed, there are paybacks to the town, the county, and the school district, and I know that the school district one is a big payback. I was looking for the numbers here. I don't know if you had any idea, just for information purposes.
Sure. The total town refund on this action was $1,847.50, and that was for all parcels, and for both years.
Right.
So,
but we don't have the school.
The school made a settlement, though, wasn't that? Didn't we?
All of this is a settlement. All these numbers are settled.
So I was just wondering what the school
So when they
portion
reduced the
was.
assessments, it was over $14,000.
$14,000 to the school. Okay.
And school has their own separate council
Yep.
that they've reviewed, authorized, and
It's
approved.
just more for information. I'm not. Go ahead.
No, when I saw these numbers, I was
Yeah, I just
terrified
want
that
people to
it's a
understand
small
that this is how it
percentage,
works,
right.
when you have these settlements.
It's just the property value
Yeah,
that's been reduced.
that there's
It's not the
payback.
mill rate.
That's all.
Yeah, once they reduce the assessed value, that gets calculated by by the tax rates, and then whatever those numbers work out, that's how
Right.
they work out.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so it's been motioned and seconded.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution number 31 of 2024, authorizing town constable to carry firearm. Whereas the town board of town of Amenia adopt the town constable local law number. I'm sorry?
Slow down, she's saying.
Oh, I always run through these. All right, whereas pursuant to the town constable local law number 3 of 2007, the town board may adopt a resolution authorizing town constables to carry firearms while carrying out their official duties, subject to the constable complying with noted conditions. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town constable to carry the firearms identified in this resolution while carrying out their official duties as town constable. Constable Jose Caraballo, firearm Glock 17 9mm. Christopher Simmons, Glock 19 9mm. Be it further resolved that the authority granted to the above named town constable by this resolution shall be subject to the following conditions. The town constable must possess a New York State license to carry the authorized firearm pursuant to Penal Law Section 400-00 at all times and must keep proof of such license at the town hall. Town constable must satisfactorily complete the Department of Criminal Justice Services basic course for peace officers with firearms and deadly physical force training and such other training as the town board and New York State law may require. Town constable may carry only or use a weapon after the town receives confirmation that town constable has satisfactorily completed the training course specified above, and such other and additional training and instruction as the town board may direct in this discretion. The town constable must provide an authorized firearm at his or own cost.
You gonna make that motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Okay. I'll second it because I have a question.
I have a question.
Ooh, I have a question too, but you have to second before you can ask a question, so you can go
I
ahead.
second it. I second it.
Oh, you seconded, okay. Then I have a question.
And I have a question too.
Okay, you go first because you seconded.
Okay. So my question is, I'm assuming then that they've already had this training since...
These are our current employees to help you guys out. They were just left off on the reorgs resolution.
That was my question.
No, but the question was, I knew that piece, but it
All the
says that
criteria has been met.
They've met all the criteria.
Yes, they're currently employed with us. They have been employed with us. It's just when they did the resolution, it wasn't sent down to me, so I didn't realize that they used a prior resolution. They just left the two gentlemen off. Good? Good?
Oh.
You said you just...
No, my
Okay.
question was about how it was different from what we voted on
It's the exact same
previously.
resolution that was
Yep.
read in January. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
And Winters?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you should give that one
to
Brad?
Rosanna or Brad?
Let's give it to Brad.
Okay, that's the water one?
The water operator one.
That's a long one, Rosanna. I'd give it to Brad.
Yeah, that's fine.
She's a good reader.
I'm due, right?
That bad.
At least I brought glasses this time, right?
Oh.
Very important.
Resolution number
Is it 32?
32?
32.
So I'm sure you guys are keeping following.
32.
Okay. Pulling water operator for the town of Amenia District Number 1, whereas the town of Amenia previously employed VRI Environmental Services Incorporated, VRI, on a temporary and emergency basis to operate and maintain the town of Amenia Water District Number 1 facilities due to the sudden resignation of the current water operator effective January 6, 2024, so that the town remains in compliance with the New York State Sanitary Code Part 5, Subpart 5-4.2A2, and to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents within the water district. And whereas the town caused the preparation of a request for proposal, RFP, for water operator for the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1, informally solicited for qualified professionals to operate and maintain the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1 facilities, including but not limited to wells, water treatment, water storage, and water distribution in accordance with the New York State Department of Health, Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health, and federal regulations, as more particularly set forth in the request for proposals of the water operator for the Town of Amenia and Water District Number 1. And whereas the only proposal received was from VRI Environmental Services, Inc., now and therefore it be resolved that the recitations set forth and are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby employs VRI Environmental Services, 1847 Route 55, LaGrangeville, New York, to operate and maintain the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1 facilities, including but not limited to wells, water treatment, water storage, and water distribution in accordance with all New York State Department of Health, Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health, and federal regulations as more particularly set forth in the request for proposal for water operator for the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1. VRI Environmental Services, Inc. shall be paid in accordance with their proposal dated January 25th, 2024, a copy which is annexed hereunto. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, and I just want to note that, that VRI's price is exactly what we were paying for SEBI, so there's no change to the amount in the budget.
They've come to our rescue, believe me.
It's lower?
Supervisor
Okay.
Blackman?
Supervisor Blackman, yes.
Council members Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Okay, the next one is not appointment of town council person because we haven't made a final decision yet. So presumably that would be the next meeting. Appointment of secretary to the town supervisor, that's 33. Rosanna, do you want to read that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think,
No.
I don't think you have it. Oh, you do have it?
I printed it.
You printed it,
girl.
but it isn't in the package. So you can look at this.
Yeah.
Regarding appointment of secretary to the town supervisor, whereas by resolution number 26 of 2024, adopted by the town board of January 18th, 2024, the board appointed Nicole Ahern as temporary secretary to the town supervisor due to a vacancy in the position and an immediate need to fill the position. And whereas Nicole has tendered her resignation as secretary to the town supervisor effective February 2nd, 2024, and whereas Town of Amenia Supervisor Leo Blackman has elected to appoint Lori Kane as secretary to the town supervisor. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein, and the town board hereby acknowledges the appointment of Lori Kane to the position of secretary to the town supervisor commencing February 5th, 2024. The town board hereby sets and confirms the salary of the secretary to the town supervisor at $16.65 per hour. And the town supervisor and bookkeeper are hereby authorized and directed to file any and all documents with the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources to effectuate the terms of this resolution. I make that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Sure.
So when we were up in Albany there a couple weeks ago, they taught us that it was the prerogative of the supervisor to appoint his personal secretary, to appoint the bookkeeper, and to appoint the deputy supervisor.
Right.
So why are we voting on a resolution?
I think I came up with an answer for that. Could I try to answer that?
I'm assuming that.
You could give it a shot, Rosanna, but we probably
I'm assuming we had to pay
Same
you
answer as
to
last
write the
time?
resolution, right?
Sure.
Okay.
So my understanding is the wording in this, it says that we acknowledge it, we're not asking permission. Is that the difference?
So the board's acknowledging the appointment. The appointment all those appointments are the supervisors. However, this board still controls salary, so, and fees. They have to approve the fee.
I thought we already did that.
In the reorg, you mean?
Yeah, but he's reappointing a new person.
Yeah, it's just a person. We already approved the salary.
Right, it was TBD.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious if we really had to have the resolution paid for.
That's my question.
That's all. Okay.
Because we really only had to approve because it was a salaried position, in which we did approve. And you have, I can't find anything else. I've been looking for this too, but because I know we'll all be discussing it, because it came up with appointments in general, and I've heard a couple things here discussed, but I can't find anything that says anything different.
Anytime that you hire an individual, it is my opinion and recommendation to the board that you do it by a formal resolution. It indicates start time, salary, which you want to document in case of audit. I think it's very important to do so, and I think it's best practice.
But that's there it is again. I mean, start time and salary I get, but the person who is being appointed I don't get.
So for New York State retirement purposes, and anybody out in TV land that has called the town of Amenia and says, I worked in summer camp in 1985 and I want my credited hours, and their name is nowhere to be found, and we cannot attest that so-and-so worked at the town of Amenia and they're losing their New York State potential credits, because by putting it in the resolution and it going in the minutes, it showed, and I'll use my kid, Zach Kligner worked for summer camp during this summer, and it can confirm their employment.
Right.
Well, I'm looking out for everyone. It's the same thing like, you get those calls, hey, I just started, do I sign up for retirement? Sure, but now if we lose a file, we have those minutes, they're being preserved.
But again, I'm seeing here and again, this is where, the chicken or the egg scenario, because once they're appointed, they are confirmed. So, and the question is, do we have to, as a board, vote for the appointment? That's what this...
It's not the appointment, it's the salary. The main thing is the salary.
Right, which we did. And now we're talking about a person.
But now this puts it all together in one clean picture.
Okay, I guess...
It's very clean to do.
Perhaps I'm being oversimplified.
For audit purposes,
Yeah.
it's extremely valuable, and you've always done this. This has always been done. And every council before me has advised you the same way.
I have no opinion on this. I'm just finding conflicting information. That's all this is. Yeah.
I just had a simple question. Okay. I'm good.
Okay.
So Supervisor, we have to still take the roll.
Did we vote or we didn't?
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
We have to still do it. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay. Council members. Winters?
Yes.
Revler?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Welcome, Lori.
Thank you.
And thank you to Nicole.
By the
for
way,
stepping
Thank
in.
you to Nicole.
I've known Lori a long, her family, the Kane family, farms in this area forever and ever, and Lori is an excellent choice. Yeah.
And she is apparently a Catholic school pal of Nancy Nowak.
Oh, my God.
She'll be sharing an office
That's
with.
in this meeting.
How about that? Okay, so,
Welcome.
all right, so under other matters, one was one was James, but you've already presented, so that's good. The other one was just, I sent around something from Bill Flood. He was looking for a letter of support for the sheriff, the Dutchess County Sheriff, to take over the EMS for the whole county. They're doing that for several reasons. One is that the individual towns are paying a great deal of money because they're all for-profit firms that are providing that service now, and the sheriff is sort of covering the same turf. And the other is that if it's done this way, the county might actually pick up the cost of that, as opposed to the individual towns doing it.
I'm just trying to understand. A Dutchess Sheriff is going to be EMS?
The Dutchess, it just would be run through the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office. I sent, you probably didn't have time today, but I didn't send it until today.
Okay.
But it was, I mean, we could discuss this next time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should discuss it next time, but it just was sort of an interesting idea, and they're basically just asking for a letter of support that we can send to the electeds. Okay, town board comments.
Yes, I have a question or comment. In the town board budget summary, I was looking for, just trying to confirm what the enhancement committee's budget was.
Yeah?
And is that labeled under community beautification?
Are you, I'm sorry, I don't know that I have the budget stuff in front of me. Do you?
I just wanted that confirmed. I mean, that's the question, because there was some, I had a impromptu meeting with the, and we're meeting tomorrow, or again, we'll bring it up then again. But I was looking for the budget line for enhancement committee, I didn't see it, but I figured that the closest thing was community beautification.
And what was the amount?
$9,252.50.
I think that sounds actually right, because some of it was a planner fee, I think, for the Wassaic part.
Okay.
And then the other stuff was like buying plants and stuff like that.
Right.
So that does sound like the right number. I know it's around that.
All right, so, okay, that was just something I wanted to clarify.
No, I find it frustrating because the way the budget is done, sometimes the lines lump things together and it's...
Yeah, it was one line.
Or describe them in different ways than we do.
Yeah, that was it. It was just one line, but I said it didn't say enhancement committee, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else have a comment?
No, I'm good.
That's very exciting. Okay.
Just need food and bed.
Okay, well, I'm going to move that we move into executive session without you, Paul.
Yes, without me. I'm going home.
Okay. So I need a second for that.
I'll second.
After I steal my candy.
Okay. We need to take a vote. Oh, we're going into executive session to discuss the hiring of consultants?
Leo, that was Brad that made that, or you seconded it?
I'll second it. As long as you guys let me go home.
We'll let you go home.
Thank you. Are we going to vote?
8:43, I'm writing it down.
All right.
Because she asked why.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Supervisor Blackman.
We like having an audience.
Winters?
Yes.
Prevlard?
Yes.
Ham?
Send me an email, whatever it is that you